I'ma tell everyone it's Kenya's fault that I lost my insurance license. Even though I haven't really lost it yet. The word on the curb is I never had one. But I'ma tell everyone it's Kenya's fault that I lost my insurance license. And if you ask me to explain how, I'ma pull out my pistol.
Somebody find my husband.
Period. I'ma pull out my pistol on you if you ask me any questions. Brit, can you explain to us why you're going around saying that you lost your insurance license because of Kenya when you haven't lost it yet, according to this episode, according to your own words? And baby, word on the curb is that you've never even had said license, allegedly. Let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it today. We are reviewing The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 6. This episode was a doozy, okay? This is our first episode where we have absolutely none of Kenya. Did y'all enjoy it? I did. It was funny. It was messy. Let's get into it, okay? But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell, baby. We are only like 350 subscribers away from hitting 35K. Y'all have been doing the damn thing. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have no idea. Let's get right into this review, okay? So as the episode opens up, we see all of the ladies. They're expressing their absolute disgust and disdain and disappointment for what Kenya did in the previous episode, okay? So now we pan to 2 days later, child, and we see Brit, okay? Brit is barefaced, she is crying, and we see her showing her husband her phone with all of the DMs and the text messages that she's been receiving about those damn pictures. So she says that she is in absolute shock that Kenya would do something so low, especially after she spent $250 on those damn flowers to apologize to Kenya, okay? So Brit is absolutely pissed that Kenya tried to publicly humiliate her. She's like, girl, you have this salon. You said that this salon is dedicated to your daughter, and this is what you chose to do. Listen, in that aspect, I agree. I think that the consensus about this is that Kenya should not have done this at her salon. Even the people who feel like Kenya was absolutely justified in doing what she did, they're still like, girl, you shouldn't have done that at your salon, though. You could have picked a different location, okay? Do that at the Piggly Wiggly. So she says that it was calculated, and Kenya did this to ruin her reputation. Clients have been calling her, and she says that now she may lose her license over this, okay? Now, I heard, girl, that you didn't even have a license. That's just what I heard. That's what people saying on the street. They're talking stuff about your business, your insurance company. I haven't even done those Googles or anything like that. I'm not gonna. But people have been saying that your business wasn't that legit. Allegedly, girl. I'm just saying, okay? But Brit says that she was a teenager when she made the dumb decision and she let her boyfriend film her while she was giving oral, okay? And she says, look, in her 20s, she was a cam girl. And remember, for those of you who don't know, Porsha actually responded in the comment section of one of those blogs. I can't even remember. I don't know if it was Shade Room or Neighborhood Talks. But Porsha said in that comment that the pictures that Kenya blew up and showed at the party were of Brit when she was underage, okay? So that paints a whole new picture as to why Bravo probably got rid of Kenya as well. So back to the show, Brit says that she had the entire internet wiped of those images, but apparently Kenya was able to dig it up, okay? She dug them up. And we also got some more tea from Jessie Woo. If you haven't seen her video, she said that actually the person who gave the photo to Kenya was a woman named Ming. Now, Ming was at the event. She's also one of Kenya's good friends, and she is on the next season of Basketball Wives, okay? Apparently, she was trying to get on RHOA. She didn't, but she's on Basketball Wives, okay? But Ming has come out and she's denied those claims. And also, if y'all don't know, Porsha now has her own YouTube channel, and in one of her videos, she made a claim that someone who is still on the cast is the one who gave Kenya those pictures. But Kenya has came out and denied that as well. So, child, at this point, who knows, okay? So Brit is in her confessional. She is bawling, and she says that she hasn't slept. She is humiliated, and no woman should have to go through what she's going through. And after forever, we see her husband, Mark, whatever. He finally comes over and gives her a hug and comforts her. And it was very weird. It was very odd and cold, right? He seemed kind of standoffish. That was the vibe that I got from him. Maybe it's just because the cameras were there. Again, this is 2 days later, so I'm sure that all of this is somewhat of a reenactment that they had to do for the cameras, okay? Listen, Brit ain't do nothing that none of y'all haven't done, okay? Now I'm playing weird. But it would be absolutely humiliating for a photo like that to be shown to a bunch of people, okay? And let this be a lesson. Don't let anyone film you. Don't let anyone film you. And if you're feeling sexy and you want to send a picture, make sure your face is not in the picture, okay? Learn something from this. Y'all better learn something from this. So next we see Kelli. She comes over to spend some time with Brit and to cheer her up. Kelli brought food, okay? And we know that that is Kelli's thing. If you're going through something, she's going to pop up. She's going to bring you food. Remember, Shamia said that when she was in the hospital with Shiloh, Kelli came through. She brought her food, and that's how she knew that they were going to be really close for a long time, okay? So in addition to the food, Kelli also hired an IV specialist to come do some drip vitamins for them since Kenya absolutely drained them with her shenanigans. So Brit says that she needs the anti-aging drip so that she doesn't end up old and mean like Kenya. Girl, you already mean though. You already mean. We gonna get into it at the end of this review. You're already a mean girl, okay? So Kelli says that it's really crazy that Kenya did what she did at her event, which I agree with. We all agree with. We've said this before. And Kelli tells Brit how Kenya told her to stay the F out of it when Kelli asked to keep the card from the flowers, okay? And Kelli says that when Kenya said that to her, she was like, oh, this girl really crazy, like for real, for real. So Brit says that Kenya wanted her to be there and she was hoping that Brit would see those images and would attack her. Now listen, I will say I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Kenya has been known to push people in the past. We have seen it, okay? But with that being said, multiple things can be true at the same time. Although Kenya is a provoker, prior to what she did at her event, she did not do or say anything to Brit that warranted Brit making that comment about what she has in her purse, okay? Let's make that 100% clear. However, given that Kenya said at the end of that episode when Brit said, oh, let me get whatever is in my purse, where my husband, given that Kenya did say as they were driving away, oh, I hope that she does something so that we can get her up out of here. Please let her do something to me, right? Remember that? I 100% do believe that it was Kenya's goal to try to get a reaction out of Brit. The same way that she got a reaction out of Porsha at that reunion when she kept putting that scepter in her face. Yeah, just being fair, okay? So next we see the ladies arriving at Shamia's place because she wants to have a little ponderosa to discuss everything that happened with the other girls. So Angela shows up with her fan and she says, look, I am not perimenopausal despite what y'all may think. I'm just the hottest bitch in the room. I said, okay, girl. At this point, Angela better be starting a fan line during this season because she stays with the damn fan, okay? Make the most out of this moment. So the ladies, they're all discussing the shock that they were in. And Porsha says, look, it was Kenya's choice to twirl all the way down to hell, all right? And all of the ladies agree that Kenya went too far, especially at her event. So Kelli says that she really likes Kenya, but she doesn't know if she would ever be able to forgive Kenya if she did something like that to her, especially because it was premeditated and Kenya had the chance to rethink it. And I'm like, yeah, girl. And I called her in my last review and I was like, girl, don't do it. And she still did it. I tried, y'all. I tried. Okay. So Kelli asks Porsha if she would have been able to forgive Kenya. And when Porsha is with the lady, she's like, well, I don't know. This is Kenya. Don't put me in it. But in her confessional, she says, girl, if Kenya did that to me, we are done. But she doesn't want to answer that question in front of the ladies, okay? So next, Angela asks Porsha what she meant when she said that she had some tea or some information on Charles. And Porsha apologizes and she says, look, girl, I was just playing with you. But when I saw how upset you got about it, I was like, you know what? Maybe that joke wasn't appropriate. We don't know each other like that. And that's the same thing that I said in my last review. Girl, y'all don't know each other. Y'all are not friends. Do not tell this woman that you got some tea on her husband. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? But Porsha, if that's the case and you realize that you upset Angela at that event, you should have apologized to Angela at that event. She shouldn't have to come and ask you about it, all right? So next we see the ladies. They go outside and they eat, and Drew finally arrives. And Drew and Porsha, they speak on their divorce, and they ask Porsha if she would be able to get back with Simon. Like if Simon called her up and was like, hey, baby, let's forget this whole divorce. I love you. Let's work this out. Would she get back with him? And Porsha says absolutely not, because he disrespected her mom by adding her mom's name to a suit that he filed, claiming that Porsha and her mom were actually trying to break into his home or their marital home or whatever. And on top of that, Porsha says that she's really upset because Simon has now abandoned her child, Pilar, okay? And when Pilar asks for Simon, Porsha has to make up excuses and say, oh, Simon's at work, he's out of town, and he'll be back soon. And at this point, Porsha starts crying. She says that PJ calls him Papa, and she actually reached out to Simon to let her know that Pilar has been asking about him. And she says that Simon's read receipts are on. She saw that he read the message and he never answered her. And that really, really hurt her because it's not even about her. It's about her child, PJ. Now listen, Porsha, you barely knew Simon before introducing him to your daughter, PJ, and having PJ sitting on this man's lap. Okay, let's be real. Let's be real. You put your relationship with Simon on the fast track and you allowed your daughter to get close to him before you even knew who Simon was for yourself, according to you. You know how many women who they choose not to date because they have children, or if they have children and they're dating, they do not allow this man to meet their kid for like a year plus, 6 months, a year and a half. A lot of women do that for this very reason. They do not want their kids connecting with someone and then the relationship doesn't work out. And then their kid is looking at them like, Mama, where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? And on top of that, can you imagine who or what Simon could have really been? Right? Because you said, oh, I started finding out all of this stuff about Simon. Imagine if you found out something gross, okay? And you had this man around your daughter not knowing who he really was. Now, don't get me wrong. You can be with someone for years and you still don't know who the hell you with. That is very possible too. And I think that it was very mean of Simon to ignore Porsha regarding PJ. But if I was Porsha, I would be more mad at myself than anything. I would be more mad at myself than Simon because I put my child in that situation. You get what I'm saying? Anywho, when Porsha cries, all of the ladies go around her to comfort her, and Drew stays in her seat, and she says that she wishes that she could comfort her because Drew is also going through a divorce like Porsha, but they're not on the best of terms right now, so she sits back, all right? So Kelli says that she's having a little event, and she asks if Porsha and Drew are cool enough to coexist at this event. Drew nods her head yes and says that she can. Porsha also says that she can because the Drew thing isn't a big deal anymore. She says they have mutual friends. Her and Dennis don't discuss Drew, so she's going to be the bigger person and move forward with it. And I'm like, finally, because this little fake storyline, it was getting old very quick, all right? Child, we find out that Drew is actually Michael Jordan's cousin, but we know Drew be lying, so I don't know. But Shamia and Porsha, they make a joke and they're like, girl, you might have to make amends with Drew so that you could get close to MJ. And I'm like, not so fast. Next, we see Kelli. She's at home doing yoga and meditation with her daughter, Chloe. I absolutely loved this scene. This was a really sweet scene. They're super adorable. You can tell that they have a very close relationship and they have a jokey type relationship, but Chloe can still tell her mom anything, right? So Kelli says that her daughter has seen her through the tough times during this divorce, and there were times that Chloe actually saw her mom crying in the bathroom. Chloe went, she gathered her younger siblings and took them to another space, okay? And I felt really bad to hear that because it absolutely sucks that Chloe even had to witness her mom in such a state, okay? So as they're doing their little yoga thing, Kelli's looking at her phone and a message comes across her phone of an article where her husband, and it's talking about the money and him being locked up and the restraining order and all of the other things. Why Chloe was like, ooh, they used the ugly picture. I'm like, child, it be your own kids. It be your own kids. Why you shade your mama like that, Chloe? But Kelli is very upset because she says that her younger daughters think that their dad is still in jail when he's not, but he's making all of these statements in the article talking about he's all about his family when he hasn't even come to check on his daughters. Now, I remember in a previous episode, Kelli did say that there is a restraining order. So I don't know if it's only against her, if it's only that Mark or Mike, whatever his name is, he can't see Kelli, or if it also applies to the children as well, okay? But we do hear Chloe say that even in the article, Mark doesn't even include her when he's mentioning his daughters, and she feels like he doesn't want her or he doesn't care for her, especially because he's never tried to reach out since he's been out of prison. So we find out that Mark is not Chloe's biological dad, but Chloe was only 2 or 3 years old when Kelli got with Mark, and Kelli says that he played such an amazing father role for her. So to see him completely shut her out now is absolutely heartbreaking. And I can only imagine that is the only father that Chloe has ever known, okay? Chloe says that she's fine with it, she's accepted it, and she's moved on, but Kelli still feels like she has let her daughter down in this situation. And at this point, I was like, I really hope that Kelli is taking Chloe to see someone, a professional, to discuss all of this, because even though he's not her biological dad, and she says she's okay, like I said before, he's the only father that she's ever known, and him doing this to her will definitely leave her with feelings of abandonment, okay? So Chloe says that she doesn't even want to get married again because she's afraid that she may end up like her mother. And when Chloe says this, you can tell that it really hurt Kelli, and I feel like it's because Kelli feels guilty because she wasn't able to show her daughters what a long-lasting, loving marriage looks like. But Kelli, girl, that is not your fault. Your ex-husband sounds horrible, okay? But Kelli does say that she hopes that one day Khloe changes her mind and that one day Khloe can eventually see her happy as well. So apparently they have discussed counseling before, because we hear Khloe say that she would rather just go back to therapy because she is tired of doing all this yoga and meditation. That little girl is so cute and so funny. I love these two's relationship, all right? But I am happy to hear that she was already in therapy and she is willing to go back, because all of this is a lot. From seeing your mom hurting, having to step in for your little sisters when your mom is unable to, and these feelings of abandonment, yeah, I definitely wish Khloe all the best. Okay, so now we are over at Ralph and Drew's place. And as we know, every first, third, and fifth weekend of the month, Drew has to leave her house and Ralph gets to leave the basement and come upstairs and play with the kids and do activities and be in their rooms, all for some normalcy, all right? That is so weird to me, but okay, that's what they're doing. So little Nai does not want to get her hair done in preparation to spend time with daddy, and Drew says that the kids have been acting up a bit, and she says that it's because they don't like it when she leaves. It's just a new concept that the whole family is taking some time to get used to. So while they're eating, okay, we see Ralph, he comes upstairs from the basement, and Drew was like, whoa, 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 and he's like, hey, what's up? It's my time. And Drew was like, oh, okay, well, I wasn't expecting you this early. We're eating and I'm about to leave. So we see Drew and Ralph, they get into it over an exterminator bill. And Drew says that she has a lot on her plate right now. And Ralph is like, girl, what you have on your plate? You don't pay no bills. You don't pay any bills up in here. And I said, okay, Ralph, look at you paying bills from the basement. I absolutely love that for him. I really do, okay? So we get Ralph in another shirtless confessional, and he's saying that he pays for everything in the house. He pays all of the bills, so the least that Drew can do is cover a $100 exterminator bill, okay? And he says that when she does petty things like this, it messes with their co-parenting agreement. Meanwhile, Drew feels like Ralph is just trying to trigger her. And at this point, I'm like, listen, I will not believe that these two are actually getting a divorce until it's finalized. Until it's finalized, because it's still giving storyline, in my opinion. It really is. Okay, next, because I don't care about it and I know you don't care about it. So now we are at the studio with Shamea and RL. They need to make some changes to her song because RL says that she enunciates her words too much, like a damn English teacher. And that really made me laugh, because if y'all don't know, I'm also a singer-songwriter and I do the same thing, okay? But nowadays you gotta sing like you gotta mumble a little bit in all of the songs. So I get it. So we see Angela. She comes to the studio to give Shamea some support, and she is so excited for her. She apologizes about Porsha being shady at the dinner, talking over her song when she was trying to let everybody hear it. Remember when Porsha was talking about, is that Drew? I know that's not you. Is that Drew? And Shamea says that she just wishes that the way that she supports Porsha would be reciprocated. And she also says that after the dinner, they spoke about it, and Porsha was still trying to say, oh, no, girl, no, friend. I really thought that that was Drew. I really did. So Shamea says that she's still hurt about it because she prioritizes Porsha's feelings over her own, and she admits that she is a people pleaser. Now we know this, okay? And I know we're not speaking about this particular topic, but the very first thing that I thought about when she said that she was a people pleaser was her trying to have another baby. And we spoke about that before in a previous review, okay? So next we see Drew come in and they all have a conversation about Porsha shading Shamea's song together this time. And Shamea's like, look, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. She gives us the rundown of her history in the industry. And she tells us again that she was in a group with Carrie Hilson. And in her confessional, she sings the entire song, that Never Had song. She sings the entire song. And she's like, y'all gonna hear this song, damn it. And I said, I know, that's right. You better use this platform, girl. So Drew says that she totally understands how hurt Shamea is to not get a good reaction about her song from her very best friend, okay? And Drew says that she's super excited for her project with Dennis, and Porsha should be excited about it too, because this project is gonna pay for PJ's college tuition, child. And Shamea was like, okay, girl, I'm sure that PJ's college is already paid for. You know Shamea, she gonna windmill for her friend, okay? And in her confessional, Shamea's like, see, if Drew would just sit still and not make all these smart ass comments, everything would be okay. If she would just chill out and stop being shady, all right? So next we see Brit's mom. Her mom comes over and she lets us know that it was very hard for her to have a conversation and tell her mother that someone had broadcasted pictures and photos of her giving fellatio, all right? And as soon as she said that, I thought, what would my mom say if I called her and told her something like that? Honestly, I can visualize and hear the entire conversation. I will call her bawling, Mom, somebody posted pictures of me, blah, 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 blah. She'll be quiet for like 3 seconds and then she'll be like, so you telling me, you let someone take a picture of you with a penis in your mouth? That is what you're telling me? And I'll be like, yeah, but it was my ex-boyfriend. You know him. He told me, he promised me that he would never show the pictures to anybody. And you know how much. So you telling me you let someone take a picture of you with a penis in your mouth? That is what you're telling me here? Child, I would just have to hang up the phone. I would just, Mom, I'm gonna call you back. Let me call somebody else, because she would scream my ear off. She really would. And I wouldn't even call my dad, because he would curse me smooth out like, you big fucking dummy. You big dummy. Anyway, so after that, we learned that Brit's other sister, Tiara, actually reached out to her after hearing about all of the drama with the Kenya pictures, okay? So Brit says that it makes her feel very good to know that even if they're beefing, no matter what's going on, at the end of the day, when it really comes to it, her sisters have her back. And we see Brit, she starts to cry, and she says that she's been dealing with hate her entire life, okay? The girls have never liked her. Everyone has always been hating on her. They've been jealous of her. We know the story. Everybody want to be you, Brit. Okay, we get it. Kenya did not do any of this because she was hating on you. Let's be clear. Kenya didn't do this because she was hating on you, okay? She might have did it for other reasons, but because she is hating on you, that's not it. And I always give the side eye to women who think that the entire world is hating on them and is jealous of them. You're going to get the side eye every time. So Brit tells her mom that Kenya called her an escort, and Mama Brit says, and she's supposed to be Miss USA. She's supposed to be setting an example for young girls and for her daughter. And this is what she is out here doing. And Brit is like, yep. And the damage that she did can never be undone. But Brit says that she's going to keep it classy. And I'm like, yeah, girl, until you get that damn liquor up in you, then you start talking shit about how you about to pull out your damn pistol. Yeah, we know how you get down. So next we see Shamea and Porsha says that in her confessional, since she's going through this divorce, she has a therapist, and her therapist told her that she needs to just focus on herself. And I'm like, oh, okay, I already see that she's making her excuses for being a bad friend to Shamea. Okay, we see what's going on. And in Shamea's confessional, she says, look, even though she's very upset about Porsha talking over and shading her song, she doesn't want to be a Debbie Downer today, so she's not going to bring it up right now. And that is exactly why, Shamea, Porsha has not been a good friend to you, because you have not taught her how to be a good friend to you. She does what you allow because you don't speak up for yourself, okay? I don't give a damn what you going through, bitch. I played my song for you. Why were you talking over my song and being shady? That is not what friends do. And that's how me and my friends talk to each other. We'll curse each other smooth out. Smooth out, because we're real friends, okay? And we're going to correct each other when necessary. Now, of course, there is a time and a place for everything, but Shamea, Porsha been going through this divorce. You can talk to her about your song right now. You don't got to wait, okay? So they chat about Drew and Dennis filming together, and apparently Dennis had told Porsha that he would not be filming with Drew, and then he switched it up and said, well, if he does, it would only be for promotion. Dennis would be a damn fool not to film with Drew. Okay, this project is an investment for him as well. He should use up all of the promotion that he can get. Porsha, you cannot control that, sis. You can't control that, okay? So production rolls the tape back of Porsha telling Dennis not to film with Drew. Remember when they were in the car driving away? And she said, oh, the way that you handle this is going to affect how things go with Pilar, which was absolutely crazy and low down in my opinion. And then they show him filming in the studio with Drew just 8 days later. So clearly production showed us that footage so that we could know that Dennis actually lied to Porsha, and he just figured, look, she gonna find out when she gonna find out. So Porsha tells Shamea that in conversation with Dennis, he actually wants her to say verbatim that she doesn't want him to film with Drew, and Portia's like, I'm not gonna say that. All that I'm telling him is that he needs to make the correct decision based on what's best for his family. I said, girl, bye. Girl, bye. Dennis filming with Drew will not affect your co-parenting, okay? It's not going to affect your co-parenting relationship unless you make it, sis. Drew and Dennis, they're not messing around, okay? So what's the problem? They're not messing around. It's just about control at this point with Porsha, and it's very obvious. So next, they talk about Shamea trying to grow her family, and she says that the remaining embryos that she does have only have a 30% chance of implantation, okay? We also learned that Simon and Porsha have an embryo as well, and I'm like, Porsha, girl, don't have that baby. Do not have that baby. That will be another shit show, okay? A huge shit show. You see how Simon be carrying online now? Imagine if it's over a damn kid. Woo, child. So Porsha tells us that she knows if she could just sit down and speak to Simon face to face, he would not be doing all of the stuff that he's doing online, but he won't because he wants to be famous. He wants to be a star. So that's why he doesn't want to speak to her. He doesn't want to sort anything out. He just wants to show his ass on the internet, okay? And we already know that because he tried it first with Fallon. That didn't work out, and he thought it would work out with Porsha, but clearly that failed as well. And child, at this point, I'm just wondering who's next, okay? Well, who's gonna be next when he gets out of wherever he is, because I don't know where he is. So now we're on to Kelli, and she is having her peace brunch. She's getting everything set up, and she says that she wants to make sure that Brit knows that she is supported in this moment. So Porsha calls and she says, look, girl, I'm not going to be able to make it. Okay, I feel sick. I think that I got it from PJ. And Kelli tells her to feel better and take something for that cold. Just make sure that she don't take no one else's man. I said, Kelli is crazy. Kelli is crazy. And I was like, see, I like her again. I can already tell that I'm going to have a love-hate relationship with Kelli because in one episode I like her, then the next I don't, and then she does something that has me cracking up. This episode, I love me some Kelli, okay? Now, regarding Porsha, do we really believe that Porsha was sick? She sounded sick on the call, don't get me wrong, but I feel like she really wants to stay as far away from this Brit Kenya conversation as she possibly can, because remember in the beginning of this episode, she didn't even want to answer the question about if she would forgive Kenya if she did to Brit, if she did to her what she did to Brit, okay? So I feel like Porsha is purposely trying to separate or distance herself from this conversation altogether, and that's why she did not go to this little brunch. So anywho, Shamea and Angela arrive, and Kelli is telling them where to sit. They already have the fan on the table for Angela, but she brought her own. She brought her own, and we see Kelli telling Shamea that she is sitting next to the ghost of Kenya. And I said, I bet when Kenya watched that, she was pissed off. Pissed, okay? So Kelli tells the ladies that her ex owes her $10,000 and he has only made one payment so far. One payment. This man sounds difficult and bitter as okay? So next we see Drew and Brit. They arrive, and in Brit's confessional, she says that she's been receiving so many calls and people have been reaching out to her, and she's upset because now she can't even Google her own name without this situation being attached to it. So she says that she has her guard up with this group of ladies because she doesn't know what to expect from them at this point. Brit tells the ladies that she's been doing okay and she feels like the hardest part is now behind her. Kelli tells Brit that this brunch is for her and the other ladies have gotten a chance to speak to Kenya about the situation, so now she wants them to have a chance to speak to her about it. And child, when Kelli said that, Brit was like, oh, so y'all spoke to Kenya about her feelings? Like, y'all discussed this with Kenya? And in her confessional, she is absolutely pissed. And she's like, why are y'all even worried about Kenya? This is why I have my wall up with these ladies. Why do they even care how Kenya feels about this situation? Brit, who the are you? You just got here, baby. Who do you think that you are to dictate who they can and cannot speak to, boo? You're the newbie. You're not the HBIC that you want to be, okay? These women are grown and they can speak to whoever the hell they please. They've been knowing each other, girl. You just got here. Simmer down. So Shamea lets the other ladies know that Brit actually lost her insurance license, and Angela was like, based on what? And child, when Angela said that, Brit was like, based on what? What do you mean based on what? Are you confused about what's been going on? Are you confused? And everybody was like, whoa. Angela was like, hold on a second. Hold on. And Angela's like, why do you have all of this energy with me? Because I am licensed as well. And in order to lose your license, there must be actual cause. So I'm asking you, what was the cause? And I said, oh, clock it, Angela. Clock it. But before she would let Brit answer the question, Angela cut her off and was like, I'm not even feeling this energy though. I said, Angela, shut up. Shut up, because I wanted to hear her answer. I wanted to hear what the cause was because she's blaming Kenya, okay? But after that, Brit just deflects and she says, look, this day is about me. This day is supposed to be about me. The fact that Brit did not answer that question, or at least we didn't see her answer that question, does make me believe the rumors that says that she was not licensed in the first place, allegedly, okay? And she's just trying to put it on Kenya, because that would mean that she lost her license 2 days after the event. At this point, I'm like, okay, girl, so you had the event. It's been 2, maybe 3 days, and they already snatched your license away from you, girl. They already snatched your license, and the event was probably on a weekend. They don't work on the weekends. But here goes Brit with that same me bullshit, okay? The same thing that she did in the Vault episode where she was like, Kenya, the question is about me. It's not about anyone else. It's about me, girl. If you don't shut it up, Shut it up, okay? So Angela and Brit, they start going back and forth. And Brit is telling Angela, you need to read the motherfucking room. That's what you need to do. And Angela says, girl, I am reading the room. And baby, I was having deja vu because the way I was ready for Brit to start asking for her husband and her stool, yeah, that's what I was expecting to happen next. So Brit tells Angela that she must be slow. And Angela says, no, I'm not. But you like to throw rocks and hide your hand. Child, Kelli's face was absolutely shocked and appalled. She was like, oh my God, what's going on? Y'all don't know how to act, girl. That's your friend, though. That's your friend. Because remember in the last episode, you were saying, that's not her character. I never seen her act like that. We better not hear you say that shit ever again, Kelli, because you can see from this interaction alone, something is wrong with your friend, girl. Something is wrong with your friend. And Brit is the type, right? Brit is the type where if I was friends with Kelli and I only knew Brit through Kelli, if there was an event and I'm telling Kelli about it, I would always say, do not invite Brit. Do not invite your little dumbass friend, okay? I don't like her. I don't see it for her. Every time she comes around, she thinks someone is jealous of her. She thinks someone is hating on her. And then if she don't get hugged tight enough, she start wilding out, talking about weapons and stuff. Don't bring that bitch around. Do not bring her around, okay? So to diffuse the situation, Kelli rearranges the seating, okay? She tells Angela to get up and she makes her sit on the other side of the table. And I'm like, see, Angela, that's what you get for putting that dumbass question in the box talking about you were only acknowledging your friend Brit's feelings when you knew damn well that you never even saw Kenya being shady to Brit. Now the tables have been turned on you. You see how that works? So child, after they switch seats and it dies down a little bit, Shamia says, okay, well, let me ask the question. How did you lose your license? And listen to this, okay? So Brit starts saying that because of the defamation, she is now under investigation. And you don't just lose your license like that. And Angela was like, yeah, I thought so. Baby, the way that I screamed, Angela was like, yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Because Brit, why are you going around saying that you lost your license when you did not? You did not. Why are you lying? And like I said before, they're saying that you never even had a license. Did you tell Andy that you lost your license too? Is that part of the reason why they got rid of Kenya? Because you told that lie on top of everything else? So baby, when Angela had made that comment, yeah, that's what I thought. Brit was like, what did you just say, huh? What did you say? And Angela was like, I said I thought so. I said, come on, Angela. Come on, Angela. You better give it to her in person, not in the confessional like you did with Porsha. Give it to her in person and keep this energy with everyone. You are making Charles very proud, sweetie. You're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie, okay? So Brit tells her that she needs to be quiet. And in Angela's confessional, she says, look, in order to lose your license, there has to be more than a damn rumor going around. And I said, exactly. That sounds like common sense, okay? I figured it out a couple minutes ago. You do not have to be licensed in whatever to know. That doesn't make sense, okay? Brit asks Angela if she would like to twirl on out. And I'm like, girl, you are such a damn fan. You're trying to be shady, but all you're showing is that you are a fan. And if I was Angela, I would be like, no, I do not need to twirl out. But do you want to pull out your damn stool? Huh? Is that what you want to do? Because we already know how you get down, bitch. Anyway, Drew was like, oh, not you saying twirl. How nasty, how nasty. And Brit says, yeah. And Kenya's not here because she's nasty. She did something nasty to me and no one is acknowledging it. And that's why I'm upset. So Drew then says that she does agree that Kenya was wrong for what she did, but she wants Brit to also understand that they were both in the wrong and they both need to have a conversation about it. But Brit says, look, I've already admitted my wrongdoing and I've already tried to apologize. And at this point, I don't even feel comfortable being in the same room with Kenya. Now, if I was Brit, I would not be having a conversation with Kenya either. After doing no shit like that, girl, you wouldn't even want to be in no room with me for no conversation. It wouldn't happen, okay? So Brit says that the damage cannot be undone. And Drew says, look, I definitely understand that and I'm not going to try to dismiss your feelings on it. And Drew does say that she really hopes that everything works out for Brit and her license and her business and all that. She just wishes her well. So then Shamia says, okay, well, let's try to actually have some peace at this peace brunch. Okay, let's try to see the good in each other. So they get up and they do the electric slide as a group. And y'all, that's how the episode ends. That is how the episode ends. I'm thinking of doing another video this week on this whole situation because Brit was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy. And I think that Kenya is going to be dropping her YouTube video, right? And I also think that Porsha is dropping another video. So if time permits, I'll watch and we can do a video and chat about that. Let me know all of your thoughts about this episode. This was a good episode, okay? Did you tune out because Kenya is not there? Let me know all of your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, we're only like 350 subscribers away from hitting 35K. Thank you all so much for the support. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!
Roxiie says we're gonna